All right, let's talk about AI tools. Does it feel like you're just drowning in new apps every single day? Because you're not wrong. It's completely overwhelming. So we're going to break it all down. Think of this as your field guide, your map to actually make sense of the new world of work in 2026.
And look, it's not just a feeling, it's a fact. Check this out. By 2026, the average professional, yeah, they're using seven different AI tools every single day. That's not the future, that's the new normal. They're already in your calendar, your inbox, your project plans. I mean, they're literally everywhere.
So that brings up the big question, right? We're swimming in all these tools, but what do they all actually do? And maybe even more important, how do they all fit together? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. It's time to bring a little clarity to all this chaos.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the AI tool tsunami. Then we'll meet the AI brains behind everything. After that, we'll get to know your new AI coworkers, see how to automate your workflow to connect it all, and finally, look at what this all means for the future of work.
All right, let's jump right in. Part 1, the AI tool tsunami. And man, it really does feel like that, doesn't it? A huge wave of new apps just washing over us constantly. Every single week, there's some new game-changing tool. But here's the secret. You don't need to learn every single one. The key is understanding the types of tools, the categories they all fit into. So let's start with the most important category of all, the AI brains. You can think of these as the massive, powerful engines that are actually powering everything else. You know, if you want to be a great driver, it really helps to understand what's going on under the hood, right? Well, that's what these foundation models are for the world of AI. So what is a foundation model anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's a huge AI model that's been trained on just an insane amount of data. And it's not built for just one little thing. No, it's a general-purpose brain that can be used for pretty much anything, from drafting a quick email to analyzing a super complex financial chart. And a perfect example of one of these brains is Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet. It dropped back in early 2025, and its killer feature is this massive 200,000 token context window. Now, what does that mean? It means it can hold the equivalent of a very long book in its memory all at once. That makes it incredible for really complex stuff like coding, writing, or even analyzing images and documents together. Okay, so how do you even pay for these things? It all comes down to something called tokens. Think of them as tiny pieces of words. This chart shows you the cost to process 1 million of them. But what's really interesting here is look at the prices. By 2026, the big players, Anthropic, XI, Perplexity, they've all landed on the exact same price. That's a huge signal that this market is really starting to mature. All right, so we've got the brains down. Now let's see how they actually get put to work. This is where we meet your new AI coworkers. These are the specialized apps that take all that raw power from a foundation model and focus it on solving one specific problem you deal with every single day. And let's start with something we can all relate to, the pain of meetings. Oh, man. You've been there, right? You're trying to sound smart and contribute, but you're also scrambling to type notes, just praying you don't miss a key decision or an action item. It's impossible to focus on both at once. And this is where it gets good. On the left, you see the old way. Total distraction, super inefficient, and just stressful. But on the right, you bring in an AI coworker like Fireflies.ai. It literally joins your meeting, transcribes everything with more than 95% accuracy, and then boom, an instant summary with all the action items laid out. But the real win, you get to actually be present and engaged in the conversation. Okay, next problem. Project management. You know that feeling when you look at a project board and it's just chaos? You're trying to plan, track progress, and, I don't know, see the future to predict what's going to go wrong? It's a massive headache for any team. Well, guess what? There are AI coworkers for that too. Asana is kind of like your personal productivity coach, nudging you on what to do next. Rike acts like your team's risk analyst, warning you about project delays before they even happen. And then you've got Hive, which is like having a junior project manager on call. You just write a simple prompt describing the project and it maps out the whole thing for you. And for our last coworker example, let's tackle content creation. If you're in marketing or you're a creator of any kind, you know the pressure. You have to constantly pump out high-quality stuff. Blogs, images, videos. It's like being on a creative treadmill that just never stops. But of course, AI is changing this game too. Forget spending hours in Photoshop.
Now you can just type a prompt into Adobe Firefly and generate an incredible image. Stuck staring at a blank canvas? Canva's Magic Studio will suggest professional layouts for you. And get this, instead of hiring voice actors, you can create a totally natural-sounding voiceover from a text script with a tool like Synthesia. The point here isn't to replace creativity, it's to supercharge it. Okay, so we've got the brains and we've got the coworkers. But they're kinda useless if they can't talk to each other, right? That's where our third and final category comes in, automation. You should think of this as the connective tissue. It's the magic layer that makes all these separate tools work together as one seamless system. And automation itself has come a long, long way. Back in the 2010s, it was all about those simple if this, then that rules. Then in the early 2020s, we got these cool multi-step workflows. But now in 2026, we have AI agents. These aren't just rule followers. They're intelligent assistants that can actually understand context and make decisions on their own to get a job done. Right now, there are really two main flavors of automation. On one hand, you've got your powerhouse rule-based systems like Zapier. These are amazing for predictable tasks that follow a clear logic. But on the other hand, you've got agent-based platforms like Lindy. These are built for the messy stuff, the tasks that need context, and where the AI has to handle some ambiguity and make decisions. It's much more like giving instructions to a real assistant. Okay, this is the most important part, putting it all together. We've talked about the brains, the coworkers, and the connective tissue. By themselves, yeah, they're just tools. But when you combine them, you create a totally new AI-powered way of working. And this isn't science fiction. It's not some far-off future. This is happening right now. So here's the mental model I want you to walk away with. It's simple. At the core, you have the foundation models. That's the central brain. On top of that, you layer on your specialized AI coworkers, each one an expert in its own little thing. And then, wrapping around it all, you have the automation, the connective tissue that makes the whole system sing. And that is the key takeaway. We've got to stop thinking of AI as just one thing, like a chatbot app. It's not a tool. It's an entire ecosystem. It's a team of assistants, brains, and automations that are all just waiting for you to assemble them into your own powerful system.
And building that system, it's becoming urgent. This quote really says it all. One person using AI will replace 100 professionals not using AI. See, it's not about the AI taking your job. It's about people who know how to use AI becoming way, way more effective than people who don't.
And if you still think this is all some distant future stuff, just think about this. Fireflies.ai, just one of those coworkers we talked about, has already processed over 2 billion minutes of meetings. 2 billion. This isn't some theory. This is happening right now on a massive scale. Your AI coworkers, they're already here.
Which really just leaves us with one final and pretty critical question. The tools are here, the AI coworkers are showing up to work every day, ready to go. They're ready to take on tasks and make you more productive than ever before. So the only real question left is, are you ready to be the manager?